Jimi Hendrix is suddenly back in the spotlight, and people can't stop talking about him. More than 50 years after his death, Washington State has finally given him the recognition many fans felt was long overdue. And now, for the first time since the pandemic, something major is happening on stages across America. The Experience Hendrix Tour has returned. Music legends are lining up to be part of it, and even icons in retirement are stepping back into the spotlight. Social media is buzzing with tribute clips and live shows, all pointing back to one man, Jimi Hendrix, born on November 27, 1942, in Seattle, Washington. Jimi's life began in hardship. His parents, Al and Lucille, had a tumultuous relationship marked by poverty and frequent arguments. Lucille was just 17 when Jimi was born. Al was stationed in Alabama with the military and wasn't granted leave when Jimi was born. In fact, he was jailed for over a month for insisting on returning home. Jimi's early life was filled with instability. Both parents drank heavily, and their home was far from stable. Four of Jimi's siblings were taken by the state and placed in foster care. At one point, Jimi was sent to live with a family friend in California, but he eventually returned to Seattle with his father after Al was discharged in 1945. In 1951, Al and Lucille divorced. Al gained custody of Jimi and his brother Leon when Lucille died from liver disease in 1958. Al didn't let the boys attend her funeral. Instead, he handed them whiskey and told them, "This is how men deal with loss." Around that time, Jimi began to retreat into music. He'd been fascinated by it for years. A social worker once noticed him pretending a broom was a guitar and tried to get the school to buy him a real one, but nothing came of it. Then in 1957, while helping his father clean out an old house, Jimi found a broken ukulele with one string. The homeowner let him keep it. He taught himself to play by mimicking Elvis Presley songs. After his mother died, Al finally bought him a real guitar, and Jimi never looked back. Jimi dropped out of high school at 17 and played with local Seattle bands like the Rocking Kings and the Velvetones. He lived on little money, sometimes sleeping in cars, but never stopped playing. He carefully studied other performers, including one who played guitar with his teeth, a move Jimi would later make famous. In 1961, he was arrested for riding in a stolen car. Given the choice between jail or the army, Jimi chose the latter and joined the 101st Airborne Division, the famed Screaming Eagles. He trained at Fort Ord and was later stationed at Fort Campbell in Kentucky. Army life didn't suit him. He complained to his father in letters, saying he hated the strict routines. His saving grace was his guitar, which he named Betty Jong. He played whenever he could, often with another soldier, bassist Billy Cox. Together they formed a band called the King Casuals and performed around the base and nearby towns. Jimi was discharged after 13 months. Officially, it was due to an ankle injury during his 26th parachute jump, but records also mentioned missed bed checks, poor performance, and even homosexual tendencies, enough to warrant discharge at the time. After leaving the army, Jimi and Cox moved to Tennessee and continued to perform. Jimi, being left-handed, played a right-handed guitar upside down and began incorporating flashy tricks, like playing behind his head or with his teeth. He once said, "Down there you have to play it with your teeth or else you get shot," reflecting the intense pressure to entertain in the South. Between 1962 and 1965, Jimi worked as a backing guitarist on the Chitlin Circuit, a network of venues where black artists could perform during segregation. The conditions were tough, the pay unreliable, sometimes he was paid in food. In 1964, tired of playing backup, Jimi moved to Harlem and stayed at the Hotel Teresa, supported by his girlfriend Faye Pridgeon. He began performing at local clubs and even one amateur night at the Apollo Theater. That victory gave him hope. In March 1964, he recorded his first studio track, Testify, with the Isley Brothers. Later that year, he played on Don Covey's Mercy Mercy, which charted modestly. By 1965, he joined Little Richard's band and toured Los Angeles, recording a song called I Don't Know What You Got, But It's Got Me. But Jimi's flashy style clashed with Richard's conservative image, and he was soon fired. Over the next 2 years, Jimi recorded and toured with a variety of artists including Curtis Knight, Joey D, and King Curtis. He even signed multiple recording contracts, which would later haunt him legally. But it was in Greenwich Village, New York, that Jimi found his creative freedom. He formed Jimmy James and the Blue Flames and started experimenting with new sounds. One night at Cafe What, Ches Chandler, former bassist of the Animals, saw him perform and was blown away. He invited Jimi to London. Jimi arrived in London on September 24, 1966, with a guitar, a change of clothes, some curlers, and $40. Chandler quickly helped form the Jimi Hendrix Experience with drummer Mitch Mitchell and bassist Noel Redding. They recorded Hey Joe in October, followed by Stone Free. The band's explosive talent caught the eye of British rock royalty. Paul McCartney, Eric Clapton, Mick Jagger, all were stunned by Jimi's skill. Clapton, after seeing him play Killing Floor live, famously said, "You never told me he was that good." In June 1967, Jimi's star exploded in America at the Monterey Pop Festival. After The Who smashed their instruments, Jimi upped the ante, setting his guitar on fire during Wild Thing. That single act became one of rock's most iconic moments. His debut album Are You Experienced followed, a psychedelic masterpiece that stayed on the charts for 106 weeks. Hits like Purple Haze, Foxy Lady, and The Wind Cries Mary introduced a new sound, wild, surreal, and electrifying. In 1968, Jimi released Electric Ladyland, his most ambitious work, a double album he produced himself. It included Voodoo Child Slate Return, Crosstown Traffic, and a legendary cover of Bob Dylan's All Along the Watchtower. Dylan praised it, saying Jimi found something in the song no one else could. That same year, Jimi began building his own studio, Electric Lady Studios in New York, to gain full control over his sound, but fame came with a cost. Jimi's life was increasingly shaped by drugs, alcohol, and paranoia. LSD opened creative doors, but also pushed him into unstable territory. He experimented heavily with psychedelics, marijuana, cocaine, and amphetamines. Friends said alcohol brought out his worst side. He became violent and moody. In one incident, he hit a girlfriend with a vodka bottle during a drunken rage. On May 3, 1969, he was arrested at Toronto Airport after customs agents found heroin and hashish in his bag. He claimed it was planted. The trial dragged on for months, and though he was eventually found not guilty, the stress took its toll. That summer, the original Experience broke up after a chaotic show in Denver. At Woodstock in August, Jimi closed the festival with a jaw-dropping version of the Star-Spangled Banner, his guitar wailing like bombs and sirens, a performance that became an anti-war anthem. Even if Jimi said it wasn't political. By 1970, things were falling apart. He was emotionally and physically exhausted, constantly touring and doubting the people around him. He was facing paternity claims and legal battles, and his relationships were strained. On September 17, 1970, after a night of drinking wine and taking sleeping pills in London with his girlfriend Monica Danman, Jimi overdosed. He died the next morning at the age of 27. The cause of death was asphyxiation. The details remain unclear, and some believe the truth has never fully come out. His death placed him among the infamous 27 Club, a tragic list of young stars gone too soon, but more than 50 years later, Hendrix's influence is stronger than ever. On March 18, 2025, the state of Washington honored Jimi with its highest civilian award, the Medal of Merit, presented to his family and the Museum of Pop Culture. Meanwhile, the Experience Hendrix tour made its long-awaited return, traveling across 33 cities with stars like Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Zakk Wylde, Eric Johnson, Marcus King, and Samantha Fish. The tour culminates on April 12th at the Fox Theater in Atlanta, where blues legend Buddy Guy, at age 88, will return to the stage one last time. Hendrix once called Buddy Guy one of his biggest influences. As catalog director John McDermott put it, everything still comes back to the music. Jimi Hendrix didn't just change how the guitar was played, he changed how people experience sound. He remains one of the most